Oh, good, it worked. Yay! It wasn't working last time because things got messed up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie podcast. As always, your co-host, Brian, and joining me, as always, is your co-host, Jim.
Coming at you live from Galactic Federation headquarters, it's your boy.
I wish.
What?
Yes.
Also, your co-host, Hunter.
Oh man, how's it going, everybody? Jim and I have identified, and I think Jim was the one who identified the "It's your boy" as an inside joke between the two of us when we do intros from now on. Oh my god, I'm over here.
It's literally the worst. It's
terrible.
It's beyond like "What up, fools?" and "Hey, how's it going, YouTube?"
I live in the South Bay of Los Angeles. I know people who talk like that, unironically. In real life. That's
really why we don't like Los Angeles.
I used to work with those people. So I don't anymore. Also, your co-host, Spaz.
Hello.
Hi, friends.
I think from now on, you should introduce people as, and also your boy, Spaz.
No.
Like, you should just...
No. I'll just come up with new catchphrases every week. And your dog humper, Jim. And
what about just cash phrases? Like every time we say it, we get paid. I want cash phrases
every time. Your butter biscuit hunter. Yeah, I'll just come up with random words and string them together for no reason.
Cheesy biscuits.
Actually, I want a biscuit now. I'm really hungry. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to an afternoon show. We haven't done one of these in a while. We had a lot of guests that were in Europe, and so sadly Hunter and Jim could not join us for those because you guys are fortunate enough to have jobs, so you got to work. But we're back to the afternoons for the foreseeable future, and
we're Cyberpunk.
We're supposed to have a guest. I offered today to a guest who had to reschedule. That's why we're doing a topic show. So today, about a couple months ago, we talked a little more broadly about 2020 in gaming. But for this episode, I thought we'd make it a little more personal. And we talk about like the games that meant a lot to us, what we played the most, what our best gaming moments were, if we had any. It's been a weird year. We were venting a little bit. That's why we started late. We hadn't really. It hasn't been the four of us in a voice room in a little while, so there's a lot. We were just like, oh god, 2020. This year. I mean, you think people are going to talk about 2020, and they're just like everyone's going to have a different reaction. I think when in the future when you talk about 2020, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh god.
I think people are going to look back from 2021 at 2020 is the good time.
Oh god,
it'll just
that's
be
what we
like,
all thought in 2019. Like, oh god, let 2020 be the year.
Yeah.
And
remember when we all stayed at home and played video games? Right. Okay.
So
I was thinking real quick though, back to Jim's little quick comment about cash phrases. I was thinking about that Mystery Science Theater episode where Crow T Robot's like, you want me, baby, and everybody's trying to figure out what he's doing. He's like, it's a catchphrase. Like everybody knows me because of my catchphrases. Like, oh man.
So 2020 has been a really weird year, not just for us, but for gaming. Like, it's felt a little. Like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's like it hasn't been as exciting a year. I think.
Yeah, it's been kind of flat, lame, honestly, on the gaming front.
And I don't. Like, but is that
had a
gaming?
lot of time to play the old backlog, but not.
But is that gaming or is that us? Like,
no, that's gaming.
Well, it's actually weird because I feel like I started falling in love with gaming more towards the end of the year. I felt like the beginning of the year, like when the COVID stuff was just kind of in rumors and we were still going about our business here in the US, for example, things kind of seemed like normal, but my job is always kind of stressful because I'm like, I run the IT. I'm the only IT person for an entire company. So, I mean, it's just like that can be kind of stressful. but like gaming was kind of like in a weird state. I felt like at the beginning of the year, and we were doing some stuff where I was running the Empyrean server for a little while. Like that happened this year. I don't know if you guys remember, but that was this year. Where I ran that Empyrean server for quite a little while for our community. Things just kind of felt like just more of the same of struggles of just like trying to find the enjoyment of gaming. But the odd thing is I felt like more towards within the last like 3 or 4 months is when I felt like I really started to enjoy gaming more. I found my wife's got the hiccups over there. Sorry.
Oh boy.
I felt no, I just didn't know if you guys could hear that because it was like while I'm talking I hear hiccuping. But I've really been getting into kind of playing on my Xbox a lot more, which I think is kind of interesting because like I play on it occasionally, but I don't play it on a lot because I'm always playing computer stuff. But I've really been getting into the Microsoft ecosystem a lot lately, and I've been kind of finding a lot more enjoyment out of that. And there's a member of our community that I met and got into talking to and hanging out with. I'll kind of name drop him. His name is Mellified. And him and I have been playing quite a few games together, and he introduced me to one that I found was quite interesting, which was it's like it's a co-op game where you escape this prison together. I forget, oh man, the name of it's starting to slip my mind.
A Way Out.
Yes, A Way Out. I've just been finding random fun like little co-op games. I've been branching out from like just the space game stuff for a little while and trying to find enjoyment in a lot of other little things. And he introduced me to A Way Out. That is a fantastic co-op experience. I don't know if you guys have played it. But it is very interesting, like the way they do it. So like narratively, it kind of starts at the end. Like, it's kind of like, you start at the end of the movie where the person's going to like, let me tell you about my journey kind of a thing. And so it does a lot of like back and forth with that. And so like, it'll start at the end and it'll kind of like ends like, hey, like, remember that moment we were trying to escape the prison, and then it'll like flash back and like, you'll play through the whole different scenes. But what's kind of cool about it is like, you don't, the way the co-op works is even online it still does split screen. So like I can see what Mellified is doing on one side of the screen with his character while I'm over on my side of the screen doing my thing with my character, and we can be like in two different parts of like the map. So like he might be like working on a puzzle to like get me into a room, but like in another part of the building, and then like eventually like we'll meet up and we'll be in the same space. I also remember distinctly too, while his character was going through a cutscene, I was standing up on a balcony and I was actually watching the cutscene, but from like the player perspective, not from a cutscene perspective. So like his side was all like animated and he was like watching it, but like on my side, I was actually just watching it as if I was like watching NPCs interact with each other. It was quite an experience, and nothing that I've quite experienced before. So yeah, I guess it kind of, as the year got later in the end game of 2020, I started to enjoy gaming a lot more.
That's
And
good.
let's
Yeah,
not forget all of our Sea of Thieves stuff. I mean, that's just...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, Hunter, would you say, like, what would you say is, since we're talking to you right now, what would you say you had a game of 2020, like a game that you, when you look back at 2020, like that was the game that came out that year that like defines that year for you?
Yeah, I'd actually say Sea of Thieves was probably that game for me. I mean, it didn't come out this year, but like it definitely like was the game that I enjoyed the most this year. I found it during this year. I started playing it during this year. I played it with a lot of people. I played it with you guys. I've played it with a few other groups of people, and and they're still pouring out content. And the more I play the game, the more like I uncover about it and realize just how like deep the rabbit hole goes on that. Because surface level, it doesn't seem like there's really too much there. You take some missions, you go and get some chests, you turn them in, you level up. But there's more. There's a lot more to it than that, and I've been finding that out. The other thing too is I've been doing a lot of exploring of Game Pass on Microsoft's platform between PC and Xbox, and so like I've been doing a lot of exploring on games through that as well. So like another game that I got introduced to this year, which I never thought I was going to play, But because EA Play came to Game Pass, like the basic version of EA Play came to Game Pass, I was able to try out Anthem.
Best game ever.
It's it's not terrible. It's not no. People, I mean, because they've added content to it since, and so like I haven't been part of it I haven't had to have the opportunity of experiencing the bad, so like I don't know what the game was like before with the state that it's in now. So playing it now as a new person, I actually was kind of finding it to be interesting. The thing though that I ran into, and Jim was actually watching me live as I was struggling through this, is it's got 3 different controller configurations, depending on what you're doing. Yeah, exactly. What is the answer? The question you should be asking?
That's
so like when you're walking around, you can invert your controller settings if you want. Like while you're walking around, it's all third person. At least when you're in combat. When you're in when you're not in a mission, it's all first person, which I found kind of like troubling. Like that didn't make sense to me. Like why is the action packed portion of the game all in third person, but like when I'm just walking around talking to people in the city, it's first person, and it feels different and it plays different. But when you're in the third person action sequence, when you're walking around, you have one set of controls that you can set for like inversion or not, if you want to do like inverted controls and stuff like that. When you're flying, there's another set of menu options for that.
No.
And then lo and behold, when you're swimming in water, there's a whole other set of controls for that. Now, they're all set as like a default. So like if you're used to like the kind of like the default controls for like that kind of stuff, then great. But if you're a weirdo like me, then you invert your controls so that way when you push forward on the stick, on the right stick, for example, you look down. When you pull back on the stick, you look up. That's how I play with a controller.
Are you an airplane? Like, is that how you?
Yeah. Well, I kind of view it as if it's a camera behind the person. So, like, I'm kind of that's just kind of how my brain kind of like functions.
Oh,
it's
I
like
see.
It's almost like it's a weird. It's a
like the stick is on the back of the head, and so you push.
Kind of, kind of, yeah.
To move.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's a weird.
I kind of get that.
But as I was doing this, I was like I'd go to fly and I was like, man, I gotta change the inversion again. And then all of a sudden there's like a water sequence. And I'm like, my controls just flipped on me when I went into the water. And Jim was like, well, maybe there's like water settings. And I was like, surely not. Surely this is just some BS and something happened. And lo and behold, there is indeed in the options settings for walking, flying, and swimming. I was like, you would think that the flying and swimming would be the same.
What?
Like you would think that it would be the same, but it's not. So
why would you do that? That's a horrible idea.
There's a little bit about my experience, but yeah, to answer your question, if there's one game that kind of defines this year for me, it would definitely be Sea of Thieves, and yeah.
Spaz, what about you? Do you have a game that would you say defines this year?
Yeah, to an extent. It's my game of the year pick. Yakuza Like a Dragon. In fact, I'm playing it right now. Because I'm grinding. It's not like I have to throw all that much attention to it because I'm at the end of the game. I've already beaten the Millennium Tower, which is at the end of the game, and then you have the true Millennium Tower, which requires you to have your job skills maxed up, or at least if you want to have a good chance of beating it. So that's what I'm doing right now. But its story starts off with a character who is basically beaten down and given nothing and has to work his way back up. And it's a little bit of a microcosm for what we're going through right now.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw you talked about like I saw you like just days after it came out. Well, I finished it. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, Spaz binged the crap out of that.
It is a great game. It's actually, I would say it is the best JRPG I've ever played. And currently my favorite Yakuza game.
Wow. Well, that's going on my wish list.
Yeah, you played some Yakuza games in the past.
Yeah.
Would you say you played every one of them?
Yeah. and Judgment, which is a side story but also set within the same universe.
Wow. Well, Steam is borked. I'm trying to search it right now and got nothing. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yep. It's Tuesday, y'all. Steam is being a little bastard.
Rebooting.
Right
Yeah, I think for me, the game that signify, that just kind of sums up 2020 is Cyberpunk, because it's just endless waiting. And
Ooh. Ooh.
Damn. Got meta there.
Ooh, all right.
I'm still not playing it.
Did you?
Yeah, I got
it. Everybody else is. Some people even got Xbox refrigerators.
Yeah, did you guys see that? Microsoft actually made a full-on. Yeah, that's crazy. No, but some people actually got Cyberpunk early by accident through some places like Best Buy and stuff. Like people were able to go pick up their collectors. Yeah, well, the stores weren't supposed to, and some stores accidentally like sold them to people early. And there was like some stuff on Reddit about it, and well, I've got Cyberpunk preloaded. It comes out in 2 days, and apparently there's already like a day one patch ready to go to fix a couple of
a several gig patch. It's apparently huge.
So 7:00 tomorrow night is the global.
It's on.
Yeah, what I heard is that it's about a 40 gig patch for the day one, but also consider that the reason why they do such a big day one patch is because they shipped the physical copies out. So whatever they fixed between the time they shipped out the physical copies and the day one patch, that's your day one patch.
Right.
What I don't understand is like I forget what game it was that I preloaded, and then it downloaded the whole freaking game.
You talking about Flight Sim?
Yes. So it was like, here's a preload, and then it's like, oh, now I only got 90 gigs to download, and it's like, wait,
which is a completely separate thing too. It's not even like through Steam or whatever. Weird. It's like its own thing. Makes no sense.
Yep. Well, I'm looking forward to giving it a shot because I know, like,
I hope it's good.
I'm just gonna leave this on the table where it's at. Take what you will from like the development cycle. I really hope the devs get recognized for their hard work on this, and I really want to give it a shot, and I really want to try it out. So.
I think it's going to be a blockbuster regardless. I mean, people can't stop freaking talking about it, and like getting it on multiple machines. Like, I know some people are like, I bought it on PC and PS4. Like, why? But okay, I guess. So.
I mean, I'm no stranger to buying games again. I did it with EDF and a bunch of others, but that's because I happen to like them enough that it's a support.
But you already played them too. You already like EDF. You'd already EDF is EDF.
I'd played through and beat it. Yeah, EDF 5. I'd play through and beat it before buying it again on PC, and then I beat it again on PC.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to get caught up. I'm at a weird place
because Ubisoft problem this year.
What's that?
It's like, okay, so they put all their games on delay after the last Ghost Recon game came out and just flopped. And that's because that Ghost Recon game was just kind of flat and empty and just had no life to it. It was like,
which is sad because emotions. Right, which is sad because when the first Ghost Recon came out that they did in recent years, after they fixed the helicopter issue, that game was lit. Like, that game was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Wildlands was great.
Yeah,
once they fixed
it.
Yeah, so this one was kind of like Wildlands without the variety stuff,
but more drones or something.
Just strange. Yeah, it was a lot of drone stuff, but it was like just repetitive. Like the enemies would show up with a helicopter. You shoot the helicopter down. Fight like 5 enemies, and then another helicopter spotted us, and it's whatever. So then they came out with Watch Dogs Legion,
which apparently wasn't very good.
They didn't even ship the multiplayer with it. They went with like too much random generation, so everything's generic, so it doesn't really have a lot of life to it, and it's just kind of like it's a stealth action.
Yeah, they made some
interesting
design choices with that, because like in Watch Dogs 2, which I still think is a great game. It's a far cry better than Watch Dogs 1.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, well, and it's got a lot of content. It's got a lot of like really cool stuff. The co-op's actually really good. There's like a lot of interaction with the world that you can do, and then like Legion comes along, and it's like you don't even go into a shop to buy anything. It's just like you go up to a guy who stands outside of a shop, and like so there's like there's almost like no interior like designs on anything. Like there's a lot of building interiors in Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
A lot of like, you do a lot of stuff inside and outside, and then Legion. The other thing about Legion that's interesting is that everybody has non-lethal weaponry, which I get. You don't want to be some kind of like murderous rampage like vigilante. Like,
well, no, you actually do. You do get lethal stuff, but you have to recruit people who own it. So it's not like, I can just go buy a machine gun, but I have to recruit a guy that has a machine gun for some reason.
Pick up one that like a cop dropped, or pick up one that like some bad guy dropped. Yeah, nope. You can't do that.
Can't do that.
And that's what I find interesting about this, because like in other games where like you find stuff, you just kind of like have it. It's not so much so it's not necessarily like a terrible game, but clearly 2 was the better game. Still, I think. It's kind of like the Mass Effect series, where 2 is the better game.
I wonder if it's gonna turn into like Star Trek movies, where the even ones are good, and and the odd ones not so much.
Well, I just don't know how much like franchising games should be, and the reason why I say it is kind of like, it's like the yearly iterations of Call of Duties, or the yearly iterations of like Assassin's Creeds. It's just like, woo boy, like we're getting.
They took a break from the yearly iteration of Assassin's Creed, and apparently that paid off, because a lot of people are really liking Valhalla.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing, right? So I got Watch Dogs, and then I got Valhalla. Valhalla's not bad, right? I can play it kind of in short doses, but it's got some repetition issues as well going on there, because it's just like, well, I can, you do a lot of the parkour thing, right? Because there's like loot things that are scattered all over the map, but money doesn't really mean anything in this game. So it's all about like, did I find the ingots to upgrade my weapons kind of thing. So there's like there's a gold dot on the map, so I know that there's a thing there that I want. And then it becomes kind of like a puzzle thing. It's kind of Indiana Jonesy, Tomb Raidering. So it's like, I have to kill these guys up on this cliff thing, and go behind the waterfall and then find the treasure chest kind of thing. So there's a lot of hidden treasure hunt going on. It's okay. It's another Assassin's Creed game, I guess. And then they just came out with Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is another Assassin's Creed game. So kind of, but this is like Assassin's Creed for kids.
No, it's more like Darksiders, I would say.
Really? Because I don't know. It's similar, yeah. Darksiders 1 or 2, more like 2 maybe.
I'd say more like 2.
Yeah. Which, speaking of that, Darksiders 2, like remastered edition, whatever the heck they called it, the Definitive edition, still horrendously busted. So, and they took the original one that actually was pretty bug free off the Steam store. I'm a little irritated about that. But I still play the original one, because the second one is super busted. Like it's things like, if you don't have VSync turned on, you can't climb walls.
What?
Because that mechanic just doesn't work. Yeah. It's inexplicable stuff like that. It's weird stuff. So anyway, yeah, I just don't even give that thing my time. I waited for like 3 years for him to fix it, and I'm over it now. But yeah, so Phoenix ain't bad, it's but it's kind of Assassin's Creedy in that like climb the statue or the tower or whatever, look around, that reveals the map. Instead of it being like, there's some place of interest over there, I should go see what it is. No, you just straight up see like, there's a treasure chest there, and there's a key there, and there's this puzzle, the liar puzzle thing is over there. And yeah, you can just like spot everything from the tower. So then you know where you need to go, kind of thing. I haven't got to the point where you get mounts and stuff, but that game I find is a more pure kind of game of what they've been doing with the Assassin's Creed stuff. And I think I like it better for that reason. And it looks a lot like Zelda Breath of the Wild, but that's the only similarity, I think.
Right.
Because, the
comparisons are definitely there.
Yeah, the visual, yes. But as far as the actual gameplay stuff, not a bit. It does have like dungeons that you go into, and they're all puzzle things, but it's like it's tutorialing me at the beginning, right? So it's like, okay, you got a bow and you have to shoot these moving targets to open doors, and then you get to the last one and you have to do the arrow that you have to guide, and then you have to like fly the arrow like under a door to hit a target kind of thing, right? So you're not going through there until you figure that out. There's a lot of ones that's like, you have to retrieve pieces of something and drop them somewhere, and it'll be like, okay, I have to climb this thing and pull this lever and then run in this door and then like shoot a thing that, opens a force field, and I can jump through there. And then I've got like that piece that I could see through the bars, but I didn't know how to get in there. Right. So it makes you kind of like work for, how do I get in these places? And there's, oh God, a lot of put the block on the platform. It's like the weight blocks. So you have to like stand on a platform. Well, I have to be on 2 platforms, so I have to find a block to drop on the other platform kind of thing. It's very, very puzzle intense like that, which I'm cool with. I mean, if it keeps doing it, it's going to kind of get old.
Yeah, it keeps doing it, but they keep adding more mechanics as you get further in. And then you combine it with the other god powers that you have, and they'll even tell you when you get into certain areas, you don't have the god power necessary to do this thing.
Yeah. Does it have a lot of Metroid backtrack stuff where it's like you see things you can't get and you have to like come back later in the game, or does it let you? Okay.
Yeah, no, there's stuff where you'll have to go back because you don't have the power to get. So say for example, you get into one area, you have the powers you need to get the thing that's required, but not necessarily the hidden chest that's there.
Okay, but is it a thing where like it contains that to the region of the map that you're in? Because the map is split up into like little continents, right? So if I'm on the one continent, then does it actually like I'll gain an ability there and then I'll cross over to the other chunk of the map, the other island, like back where I started, because now there's things I can do there? Or is it just like I can't do a thing on this island until I find the other thing that's on this island?
It's the former. It's the former. Okay. You can still go there, but once you get to a certain point in the game, the enemies start getting a lot tougher and the world becomes tougher.
Okay.
But that also means that, well, you've gained more god powers to that point. And so you have the means to handle it, but it's not necessarily that that you can't go and do anything here until you've done a certain thing. It's just the world rises with you in level, so to speak.
Okay, well that's cool. I mean, I like games where it's like I see a thing and I can't get it, and then I'll play something, I'll play like a couple hours down the road, and then I find like, oh, here's this gadget that lets me do a thing, right? Like I can freeze platforms now or something. And then it's like, oh yeah, hey, if I go back, like that thing that I saw like 3 hours ago, I can go back there and do it now. And plus there's a lot of fast travel in this game. So
yeah, fast travel, plus it'll indicate whether or not you found the hidden chest there. So you can even see on the map whether or not you've found everything in that location.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. The other thing I like about it is the humor.
Although sometimes I want them to just shut up,
I mean, it's a crap load of dad jokes, lots and lots of dad jokes.
Oh, I love dad jokes.
But you know what? If you like dad jokes, it's plus also you got Elias Defexis, who is Prometheus So you have the guy who was Adam Jensen in the this X games. He's narrating, and he does a great job. Seriously, the voice acting is great.
That'll be another one I'll have to keep an eye out for a sale. Sounds like. What's it called? Phoenix Rising or some crap? It's got a weird name.
Immortals Phoenix Rising. Yeah.
Okay. I will try and remember that. So for me, I got really two games of 2020. The first one came out in 2020, and I've said this many times, but it's clearly Bloody Rally Show. Very, very rarely has a game pushed every button I have just so well. From the violence to the procedural generation to the progression. It basically has everything I want in a racing game. Like everything. From weapons to, a track editor to, running over pedestrians. It's got everything. And even with my gaming ADD, I've put in almost 60 hours into it this year. And the races aren't that long. They're like 2 to 5 minutes each. So I put a lot of time into this game. And I just can't say enough good things about it. It's even a giveaway tool. Well said, AC Wraith, which is funny you say that because the developer gave me 5 keys for the game a little while back, and so I'm going to give some away near the end of the show. Yeah, it's also a great giveaway tool. It's like my primary giveaway tool now. It's so freaking great. Like, I play it every day. Even if it's just to do the leaderboards, the daily challenge, I play it every day. And it's just so satisfying. I'm not playing it right now. This is a video. I'd be making a lot of weird noises if I was playing it right now. We try not to do that much anymore.
Which is normal.
We used to do that back in the day. We used to like play the games live while we were, chatting, and we realized that was a bad idea. But I have to say my other game of 2020 has to really be Starfleet 2. I mean, no other game has captured my imagination just like that one. Like, no other game has taken hold of my soul so much as that one. Like, it's just gone from something I was scared of in the beginning because it looks intimidating to just something that gives me just endless joy now. It's just an amazing thing. Like, and one of my finest gaming moments ever in gaming came from Starfleet 2 this year, where I finished a mission with like 1 second to spare. And it was just a thrill. And like, I haven't had a feeling like that in a game in years. So it's been a good year, even though gaming has been flat. There have been, for me at least, some real highlights. And I think it's kind of funny that Bloody Rally Show came out this particular year because it's such a dystopian thing. Like, did you know the pedestrians in the game are influencers that are trying to take pictures of the race and get money for it?
Makes me feel better about running them over, really.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. That's why you don't mind running them over, because they're
do any of those do any of them have Xbox refrigerators?
I don't know. They all eat a Taco Bell and drink Mountain Dew, and everything's extreme. But it's great because you can also be one of those pedestrians.
420 lit, bro.
Oh,
it's your boy, Bloody Rally Show.
Thankfully, there's no announcer. Like, oh my God. Like, they didn't go the dirt route. Thank God. And add, like, whatever that guy's name is that's been in, like, 3 of the dirt games.
There's only one announcer, and that's the guy from MechWarrior.
Wait, who's the guy?
Announcer I'll accept.
What?
I forget what his name is. Yeah, from the MechWarrior games, he announced this. He was the announcer in the Solaris arena.
God, I don't remember.
I was gonna say, I think there's only one announcer, and that's the announcer for Unreal Tournament.
Oh yeah, that.
Oh God, the best headshot. I love that guy.
Monster kill,
mega kill, ultra kill. Like he's like the voice changes.
Holy shit! That was always my favorite. Like when I found out that there was a holy shit like moment, I was like, well, this game just got bonus points.
Oh my God. Hi, Dr. Larry. We did kind of go over our top 3. So far it's been Sea of Thieves, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Bloody
Oddly,
Rally
nothing
Show.
that was a space game.
Well, I mean, Starfleet 2, but it didn't come out this year, sadly. It came out 31 years ago.
You know, another game that didn't come out this year that I actually got to play a little bit more of because I found a group of people that actually play it on a regular, shockingly, was it's not a game that's out yet. It can't even really be called a game yet, in my opinion, but that's Star Citizen.
What?
So I found a group of guys that play, and they had me tag along with them. And one day, So one day we were doing like a group thing, and we were on this guy's ship. It was like this multi-crew ship, right? And I ended up like just whipping out my pistol and like pegging one of the guys in the back of the head because we were part of a group, so I didn't know if like they had implemented friendly fire yet in the game. Well, they have, they have. And I popped this guy in the back of the head. So he actually had his respawn set on the ship, which you can do that now. So if there's a med bay on your ship, you can actually set your respawn point on the ship that you're in, so you don't have to like go all the way back to some stupid planet somewhere, right? So when he respawned, he actually got the option to charge me with a crime. And when he did, the next time he did, and then he popped me in the head, and I woke up in prison. I'm not even kidding, because they have a prison system implemented in the game now. I woke up in prison, and I was like, what the hell? And the guy's like, oh yeah, so like you're gonna have to go figure out how much time you have to go serve. And I went and checked, and it was like 1 hour and 45 minutes, and I was like, what, are you kidding me? I have to stay like in this underground, like it was like
terrible.
It's like Urapente, right? So it's like a mining colony. If you go onto the surface, it gets too hot and you'll die, and it's just this whole like thing. So like so you can actually decrease your time by going and mining resources to pay off your penance, I guess, so to speak.
Oh my God.
And I was like, man, I don't want to have to go and like grind some stupid ass mechanic. And the other guy was like, well, you could try to escape. Okay, explain. And he's like, yeah, there's just like this whole mechanic. So like there's a security system that you can like go and find. Like if you walk past the security office, there's a code on the display in the back, and it rotates every so often, so you have to like get it and use it quickly. And that code actually turns off this like fan that you can crawl through, that then takes you into like the caves and like tunnel systems of like the planet, right? And if you've ever played any kind of game that had jump puzzles, I think Guild Wars 2 is a great example of this, because Guild Wars 2 has like the most ridiculous jump puzzles. This is a lot of that. So it's like you're jumping across ravines because there's low gravity. You're jumping. You're crawling through to like squatting through like small little holes, jumping across big gaps, and making your way up to the surface. And then once you make out your way up to the surface, you have to have like somebody better be waiting there for you, or else you're going to start to like burn up on the surface. If it's daytime, if it's nighttime, you have a little bit of time like you can spare, but your suit will not save you from the extreme heat during the day. So I finally, this is way more intense than 90s Red Faction, my friend. Like 90s, like the Red Faction was great because you could like, I had the destructible environments, and you can kind of tunnel your way to an extent. But even with 90s Red Faction, like there's only so many polygons that you could blow up to where then you couldn't blow up any more polygons. So like once you've destroyed like most of the map to a certain point, it won't let you blow anything else up, even though it's like that wall right there should be able to be blown up. Anyway, I digress. Point is, so I did this, right? So like I made my way all the way to a certain point, and then like I fell, right? And then you wake back up in the prison. And I was like, great. And so I went and checked on my time. Then again, it was like 2 hours and 30 minutes. Shit. So I'm just like, well, I'm definitely not going to try and grind like mining stuff to get out of here now. I've got to get out of this prison. So I went and did it again. This time I made it to the surface, or I made it to like where the surface spot was. And the guy comes with his ship, but he like didn't like, I couldn't get up because I got myself stuck on like a beam. So like I couldn't jump the ladder. And so he tried to bring his ship down to me inside this big like silo, and his ship was just a little too big. But once he got it far enough down into the silo, it just blew up on him, because it's because the game's glitchy as all get out. So I was like, fine. No. So I had to jump off and die again. Of course, this time now that I'm in the prison, like my time's like even higher. So I try it a third time. And because again it's Star Citizen, I get stuck in like the wall like just before I make it to the surface where he was waiting for me, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn this off and call it a night. But hey, it's a really interesting mechanic and a really interesting system. I just think it's a little much. Like it's too role play. It's a little too. Like I find it fascinating, and I find it like interesting, and I find it intriguing. It's just like, come on,
it's a little too 2020.
Yeah, well, there's that. Anyway, I mean, it was an interesting experience that I don't want to ever do again. Like, I was just like, I was like, I guess prison worked. I don't want to go back.
So that happened.
It's a good reform tool, I guess.
Now I know I don't ever want to go back. They ain't never taken me back. Just like I want to go.
Oh my gosh.
It's like Macho Grande. You'll never get over it.
Right.
I think I streamed Star Citizen once earlier this year, and the guy I was streaming it with fell through the ship. And so...
Yeah, that was great. He fell through his own ship and then started flying way behind you.
Yeah, it was his ship. He fell through the back, like, cargo door. And next thing I know, he's millions of kilometers behind us.
So he didn't fall through the cargo door. He fell through the floor of the ship.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Like he clipped through his ship, basically.
Have you guys seen that great YouTube video of the Charlie, or was it Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory music synced up to this guy trying to use an elevator in Star Citizen?
I did see that.
And it keeps going up and like through the ship, and he's like flying up into the atmosphere like on this elevator, and it's just like the Charlie the Willy Wonka music's playing in the back end, like from that scene in the elevator. Oh god, it was probably one of the best like gaming memes I've ever seen.
Apparently there's hot dogs in the game. Apparently there's hot dogs in the game now.
Okay, to play devil's advocate for a second, the Star Citizen is continuing to get better with every little like patch that they've been putting out over the course of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
There is an eating and drinking system now, so like your character will get hungry or thirsty in the game. God. So like you can go up to you can go it's but it's not ridiculous like a survival game is. Like if you play like Space Engineers or like
it's already Imperium, ridiculous, right? That it's there at all. That's what's ridiculous.
No, but it's like, well, you get hungry like every like 4 to 6 hours. So like you could play the game for like 4 to 6 hours, and then your character will start to get hungry or thirsty. So like it's got a huge timer on it. It's nothing like, oh, I got to eat every like 20 minutes in this game or else my character dies. Or even like less than that. Some games it's like way less than that. So there is that, but like they have like ice cream. You can get like ice cream. You can get hamburgers and hot dogs and
really,
it's all procedurally generated, like mint chocolate chip.
Yeah, I saw a couple of GIFs of people eating hamburgers and hot dogs in the game, and I'm like, oh, really? This is what we're doing now?
RP so hard.
It's never going to come out.
Procedurally generated eggs.
Now, that, to be fair, this is what we're doing now. Is pretty much the catchphrase of 2020.
Yeah. It's like, oh, look, murder hornets. Well, this is what we're doing now. Great. Nothing ever seemed to come of that, though, thankfully.
Oh, they did, like, about a month ago, they found, like, a big murder hornet nest up in Washington State.
We talked about that, I think, on our last show together. I think we talked about how they used vacuums and crap to deal with it, because, my God. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to stick in the memory of 2020 more.
How about this? How about that? What was it that was posted earlier? The KFC Lifetime event, a recipe for seduction.
The Lifetime mini movie. I don't know why it's a mini movie, but
Jim, you saw this, right?
Yes, I did. I showed it to Joan. I was like, "This is like those books you read."
It is. If you don't know what we're talking about, folks, Lifetime is doing they're calling it a mini movie, and I forget what it's called.
Presented by Kentucky Fried Chicken, a recipe for seduction.
Yes, we're talking about Recipe for Seduction with Mario Lopez playing
as Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's going to be my takeaway from 2020. Is just like, you know what? The year started off weird. It just was like an odd starting year. It got really, really strange. Then it got really, really bad, and then it got really weird again, and then it just kind of ended with like this Mario Lopez movie where he plays Colonel Sanders. I don't know what's going on, but it feels like the Twilight Zone.
It's one of those things where I have to wonder, when people look back 10 years from now, even, how did all of this happen? and they will be wondering, how did all of this happen? Why are all of these things happening in this year? And what were the perfect storm of events that allowed it to happen?
You know, I was mentioning earlier in our Discord that the last movie I saw in the movie theaters before the pandemic and all that stuff was Rise of Skywalker, and I don't know how I really feel about that. Like, it hurts a little bit. I feel like that. I feel like I just need to go like risk watching a movie in a theater just to get that out of my system. Like, I don't want to die knowing that was the last thing I saw in the movie theater. It's just like.
I'd perhaps risk it for a Riff Tracks live show, but
maybe if they were doing them, maybe, I don't know.
If they were doing it, but they're smart enough to know not to do them at this point.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be going back to the theaters regularly until late next year. You know.
Well, you know what the article came out that said that all of the Warner Brothers
yes. They're like,
all of their stuff are going to be simultaneously released on HBO Max.
Oh, and the theater people are so mad about that. Both the CEOs of AMC and I believe Regency came out hard against.
Well, the only thing I'm hard against is not being able to see Dune in the IMAX. I hope to God I get to see that someday in the IMAX. Yeah?
Hang on.
Brian?
Yeah.
We're getting like random.
I know. Hang on.
Random sound effects.
No, I'm setting up Bloody Rally Show. Hang on. Because we're doing a giveaway. At least I hope. Does anyone want a copy of Bloody Rally Show? If not, I just won't do one. But
I mean, this is great background podcast music if you want my input.
Oh no, the soundtrack to this game is great. It's got great music. This game, really great music. I'm not getting any entries for the giveaway, so I'll just save these keys for another time, I guess. No one wants a copy. That's fine. Just kill the game then. Oh, you already have it? Fine. I did give away a lot earlier this year.
Whoa. Here's some breaking news, guys. Not even a joke. This actually was posted today. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 is getting a mobile release just like Knights of the Old Republic 1 did.
Huh.
That's crazy. I think, honestly, I have Knights of the Old Republic 1 for the phone, and it actually works really well. I think it's crazy that some of these older games can get this kind of a release like this. It just goes to show you like where we're at technology-wise. That
it's so amazing.
An RPG is dense.
These little phones can run these little phones can run these old games amazingly well. Like going back to Starfleet 2, I installed DOSBox on my Android phone so I could run Starfleet 2 on my phone.
Huh.
And it runs freaking great. I mean, it's perfect. It's a keyboard only game. It doesn't even use the mouse, so it's perfect.
Speaking of phones, and we were talking about Xbox earlier. So, because I have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, I get access to the xCloud or the game streaming stuff. And I was checking that out the other day on my phone, and they actually have games that are like touch controlled enabled, like versions of games. So they have like touch controls on the screen.
What?
And I was like, well, I'll give this a shot. I'm kind of curious. I haven't played Super Lucky's Tale before, so let's try Super Lucky's Tale. And I'm gonna be honest, I was shocked at how well the touch controls and how responsive the touch controls work.
So is it like a gamepad on your screen, with the buttons and the sticks and whatnot?
Yeah, but it's very minimal. So it's not like it's taking up your screen with like buttons that you can push. It even like tells you like, because it'll give you like these little hints as to like when to push this or push that for different stuff. And it shockingly worked. I was surprised at how responsive and how well that worked. So it's just, it's been a weird year, but there's been a lot of really interesting stuff that is like been good that has also happened despite all of the crazy.
Yeah, there have been some weird silver linings, like not paying student loan payments for a while. That was nice, and
yeah.
So yeah, there have been some weird silver linings this year. But friends, that's gonna do it for this episode, I think, because we're about an hour. That's a good run.
Oh, all right.
Unless you had something else you wanted to talk about.
There's one I was going to mention.
Go.
It did come out this year in early access on Epic Game Store. Phantom Brigade.
Is that good?
It is good. They've got a lot to do on it, but that is not something I'm holding against them. I think it's how to describe it. If you take the turn-based, you can see what the enemy is going to do, predictive indicators from, say, a game like
Frozen Synapse.
No, you have Frozen Synapse is a good example. You have a timeline mechanic. You can see 5 seconds ahead, and you will know when the enemy is going to fire, where they're going to move, and so you have to move your mechs around that.
It's like playing XCOM, but you know where the enemies are going to move before you move.
Right, but it's all in 5-second increments. So you have to think in 4 dimensions, because you not only have to think of where your mechs are going to be located, you have to make sure that you're not running your mech into your own shots, or that they won't be on the other side of the enemy and get friendly fire as well when those shots land. Because it's not just how fast you fire or how long you're firing for, it's where they're going and whether or not those shots might, say, ricochet off and hit one of your own guys. You have to watch the terrain, use the terrain to have that in between you and the enemy, or use your shield, or not use your shield and dash, which gives you a boost. And then you're moving in one direction for up to, say, 30 meters. So you have a lot to play around with. But one way to describe it is video editor the game. Because
right.
Because
Final
you have that
Pro.
timeline mechanic. Yeah, and you have the timeline mechanic, and so you have to make sure everything syncs up to this is exactly what this mech is going to be doing at this moment, and You want to make sure you're not running into each other, you're not running into the enemy, because that causes damage as well to both of you. If you hit a mech from behind, you have a higher chance of doing concussive damage and knocking out the pilot, which means you get to, waste the meat but save the metal, using that old phrase. And yeah, you get more salvage out of that. But I'm loving where this game is going. They're doing major updates every month. So they've got their roadmap planned out. Keep an eye on it. Definitely keep an eye on it.
All right. So it's been not a bad year for gaming, but like there have been some years recently that were better, I think. But hopefully we'll have a lot to look forward to in 2021. Hopefully.
To answer the person in the chat's question, there's Jim and I both are getting Cyberpunk 2077, and we'll be playing it when it comes out.
And what was the mech game called again, Hunter? Phantom Brigade, which is currently in early access on the Epic Games Store. Yeah, so a lot of good stuff in early access right now. A lot of good stuff that's probably going to come out in 2021. I hope Cyberpunk is good. You guys will have to report back whether it's a buggy mess like some people were saying.
We already know it's a buggy mess. I have no doubt that it's going to be, because like even with the Witcher games, they had stuff, right, until they got a little bit down the road with them.
Yeah. But this game is so hotly anticipated.
I was thinking about doing a like, I haven't played Cyberpunk, ask me anything kind of thread, because it seems like everybody just, you go on YouTube, it's like, I played 50 hours of Cyberpunk, ask me anything. And I just want to just be like clueless, right? Because it's like all those things are like, okay, I'm answering any questions, but no spoilers. It's like, well, we don't need to talk then, because everything that I want to know is like, okay, does this happen? Especially the stuff about Ciri. Like they hinted pretty hard that she was going to be in the game, right, out of the Witcher universe.
Who?
So we shall see. Ciri, Witcher's adopted daughter.
Oh, not the
she
Apple,
disappeared for a while.
Not the Apple thing, but there's a character also.
Yes.
Okay.
Spelled differently as well.
Came first.
And
Apple ripped them off.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, but her name is actually Cirilla. So, but anyway, she in order to escape from the wild hunt, she like went through a portal into another world, and then she came back and told him about like this strange world that she was in, where people could talk to each other through machines in their head and stuff, right? And it was like, what's she talking about? And then boom, Cyberpunk trailer. And it was like, oh my God, are they really going to do that? And I want to know. Waited 8 years to find out.
All right. Well, hopefully it's good. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. Next week on the show, we're welcoming back the developer of Alliance of the Sacred Sun, Steve Hawkins.
Stephen Hawking.
I think it's Steve Hawkins. I'm totally blanking right now. They're running a Kickstarter. For their Alliance of the Sacred Sons, which is a Crusader King style grand strategy game that hopefully will be coming out next year. It's already pretty awesome. We've had him on, I think, twice before now, so I think this will be his third time. And on Thursday's LAN party, we're going to return to Gene Shift. We haven't played that in a while. It's had a lot of updates since we last played, so very excited about that. And I don't know when I'm going to stream tomorrow yet, or if I'm awake enough to stream tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out, everyone, as always. Oh, and Hunter, tell them about your new thing.
Oh. Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity. Yeah, I have a new podcast called The Other World's GG Community Cast. Jim is one of my co-hosts over there, along with a friend of ours named Mellified.
Yeah, except he has to edit out like 75% of everything I say.
Well, no, I don't. We do. It's a pre-recorded show that we do on Saturdays, every other Saturday, and we release it between Sunday and Monday every other week. So it's a bi-weekly show. And we also have a community you can join that's got forums and all kinds of stuff going on over there. And you guys can check it out at www.otherworlds.gg. And you can also find the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google. Yeah. So
I apologize. I have not had time to check it out. I'm behind on every freaking podcast. Everyone.
It's okay. I mean, I appreciate you allowing me to promote that.
Oh, of course. I mean, we're all trying to find our creative juices, and we all got to help each other.
If you guys are here in the Discord, if you are in the Discord, I did put information on it in the content creator sharing channel. So if you guys need links to all that, come join the Space Game Junkie Discord and continue the conversation there.
Yeah, our Discord is awesome. So as always, thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you for hanging out and being so very active chat tonight. Thank you for that. We love seeing y'all talking back to us in the chat. And with that, we'll wish you a good night. Be safe, be well, take care of each other, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.